Lesson 8 is So I Think You Can Dance. Lesson 8 is So I Think You Can Dance. Obviously, a bit of a play on words there from the show I don't think I've ever watched before, So You Think You Can Dance. But So I Think You Can Dance relates to this next piece of advice isn't for you, and also to these themes of uncertainty that I see playing such a part in people looking for certainty and looking for people to give them certainty, which is that often people are looking for people to give them advice that is like um, a blueprint, is like a recipe for what they should do, and to take away their own need to have to think for themselves or to um, do any thinking in the process. And so the reason why it's called So I Think You Can Dance is that the way this kind of came to my mind is it's almost like people are saying, okay, I want to teach me how to dance, and rather than, you know, teaching you moves or techniques, I just give you set choreography, move your hands like this and move your arms like that, and then that's how you have to dance. And then you go to a party and the music is playing, and no matter what the music is, you think you have to do these exact dance moves that I've now given you as that choreography or the way to dance. And of course, you could look very stupid if the music doesn't match, the beat doesn't match, so many things. There's a good chance you're going to look very stupid. And so I think similarly, this is what happens when we look for advice that is so just prescriptive down to the T that people think, okay, with my kids, they're doing this. What do I say to them? How do I do this? How do I do that? And people, understandably, because there's uncertainty, because they care so much, let's say in this case about their kids and their parenting, that they want to get it right and they're so afraid to get it wrong, they think that the correct advice they should be looking for is for someone to tell them exactly what to do. And I felt this before from people calling, but of course in therapy as well, this desire that people want to know exactly what to do. And it does give you this desire to, well, maybe I should tell them because they want that so much, and maybe it will help them exactly what they should do. But really, there almost never will be something that's that black or white or that clear that you have to do exactly, follow some kind of clear cut advice about something. The reason why I call it So I Think You Can Dance is what I think is better is for us, first of all, to ourselves, but also if we are giving some kind of advice to someone, or someone is seeking our advice, is that you might help them with certain principles, just like a dance instructor will teach you certain techniques and certain ways to move and to feel the music. But ultimately, especially if you're listening to, let's say, a new piece of music, you will have to trust yourself to dance to the music that plays. And so the analogy for me is that we trust ourselves and we have to trust others to find the way or to dance their way through their life, through the music of their life. So their kid does something, and rather than, they bust out a script and say certain phrases, or they do exactly something that they've been told to do, instead of that, they trust how they're going to respond to their child. Now, they might learn certain principles of, okay, there's certain things that might be more harmful to a child than another, or reflect on themselves. There's certain things that I tend to do that I don't want to do, or certain things that my parents did to me that either I might repeat or I might do the opposite, and I don't want to do either of those things just in a reactive way. So that could be helpful. But ultimately, we have to trust that we are going to be in that dance with our child, and we will find our way through it. No one else can tell us exactly how to dance or to do the dance moves before we've even heard the music, right? So we have to hear the music and then dance. We can't think the dance and then go, whatever the music is, do that type of dance. So that's what is so important for me, is to recognize that we have this desire for that certainty. I could totally get that already. My child is not even 4 weeks old when I'm recording this right now. And so he might be crying, and I sometimes wish I knew exactly what to do. And if someone said, if you do exactly this, it'll make him stop crying and make him feel okay. That does sound nice and feel nice. And again, it doesn't mean there aren't things that we can learn. Sometimes we'll say, oh, here's a technique to soothe a baby that can be helpful, and different techniques. But even with that, what I've already learned with him is that there's not one thing that calms him down, because it depends on what's going on for him in that moment. So, sometimes we actually get attached to certain things. Okay, I did this last time. I rocked him just like this, and then he fell asleep. So let me do exactly that. And then we almost get surprised or frustrated that it doesn't work. But then we don't know. Okay, this time maybe he needs a diaper change, or maybe right now too much motion is not going to feel good. He wants more of a calm feeling, or whatever it might be. Realizing that it's not that we have one solution that's going to fix the problem, but we have maybe tools in a toolkit, or we have dance moves, to use that the analogy further, and we can choose from those dance moves, and also maybe come up with something in the moment that we haven't done before if we really listen to the music. And that's what's going to help us get through whatever that is. So I totally get that, and I have that feeling of wishing I knew exactly what to do, and if someone told me they knew, I might be drawn towards that. I've already Googled things like burping a baby, and you see people with these different techniques, or how to soothe a child. You see different techniques, and I've seen a lot of very helpful things. And I've also seen certain people that I feel are, saying this will make every baby calm, and they do some kind of technique that they have, and sometimes they even show it on a little baby that it calmed them down. And I wouldn't say it's impossible for that to be the case, but I do think we often, because we're looking for so much certainty, people give that to us, and they try to give that to us when it's often not the case. There rarely is one thing that helps everyone, let alone, every baby in the world will be soothed in the same way. So we have to accept our desire for this kind of very strict prescriptive type of advice, but recognize that likely it's not going to exist. I see this in other ways. I mentioned communication in an earlier lesson today. People are looking for things at work. Okay, how do I talk to my boss in a way that communicates confidence, or communicates this, or how do I make people feel like I care about them when I listen? And I always get very frustrated with this type of approach, because what often is being done is, rather than the genuine intention being there, I genuinely care about the people I'm listening to. I genuinely feel good about myself, and let me build my confidence. We're looking for these quick fixes, or these ways to make it look like something, how to look like a nice person. And this is actually why I think when I've talked about Machiavelli's The Prince, I said, to me, in some ways, this is like the first self-help book. Maybe there's some other book that would fit that, but to me, it's like one of the first self-help books ever, where I know Machiavellian is used as a very derogatory term, and in some ways I understand that, but at the same time, there's a lot of ways that what he was doing was presenting ways to, for example, look good to your people while still being selfish, or being cruel, or doing things in a certain way that makes you feel good and get what you want, whatever your desire is, which will sometimes involve manipulating people to see things a certain way. But I often see a lot of the self-help genre having this approach, how to make people think that you care, how to make people feel that you're listening to them, or whatever it might be. It's more about coming off a certain way and finding these quick fixes, rather than trying to understand, well, why are you having a hard time genuinely listening to people, or why are you having a hard time caring about people in a genuine way? Can we examine what's going on for you there? Or if you're judging people, how do you make your face not look like you're judging them? Okay, that's something, but why don't we actually try to understand, why are you being judgmental? We all have this. How can we understand this in a deeper way to get better with that? So I think it's very sad that this is the movement, as people are looking for these quick fixes. Understandable, because quick fixes are easier, and we always are looking for an easy way out if we can find it, but you almost never are they the actual solutions, especially in a deeper kind of way. So it does involve, for ourselves, when we're looking for advice, to trust ourselves more, but also when we're giving advice, to recognize there is such a good feeling from getting that sense that we're the one that knows, and they're turning towards us to fix the problem and to have the perfect solution for them. And I think the whole field of psychology has to be very careful about this, because people come to us in a very vulnerable state, and I think because of misconceptions, they often think, well, the psychologist knows what to do, and exactly what I'm supposed to be doing to fix this problem in my life, to fix this relationship, or whether I should even be in this relationship, or how to deal with my depression or anxiety, or whatever it might be. And I think we at times, as psychologists, therapists, we might, you know, fall into that, or take that on. Like, oh, it feels so nice to be seen as this expert, and this, not just psychologists, but maybe even like I have the solutions to life or solutions for them, that we can play that role. And that dynamic also often comes into play with the client feeling weak and helpless, and I need your help. And then the therapist taking on that role that I have all the answers for you. And so we have to be very careful not to fall into that, because we're likely not helping them as much as it might feel like in the moment. Like other things I've talked about even today, it might be comforting in that moment, but it's not going to actually help them, because one, we don't have all the answers, no matter what, we definitely don't. And two, even if we did, each individual has to learn how to dance to the music of their own life. We might even give them the right solution. Let's say you did know. But now when they go back to their life, they have to make hundreds and thousands of decisions in their own life, and we won't be there as a therapist to tell them what to do. And now what are they going to do? So, if anything, the therapist's role is to help the client recognize that they have the solutions within them. Doesn't mean they can't get advice, they can't talk things through, that it's all on your own, but that they probably are more capable than they think they are for individuals that present in that way. That it's not that they need to turn to some expert to tell them what to do. What they actually probably need to learn to do is to trust what's inside of them more, and to recognize that often there is more wisdom within them than they realize. So I might also do a lesson related to giving advice and what we take when we give advice. So it's not just giving, but here also have to recognize that, although it might feel good to be on either side of that, to tell someone with certainty, this is exactly what you have to do. Here's the prescription, and just follow it. And if you do, you'll be okay. And when we're receiving advice, it can feel good to not have to think about it, and someone just tells us what to do. It's important for us to recognize that this is not what really helps. And we have to trust that when we're giving someone advice, I believe you can dance and figure out how to dance to the music of your life. And us as individuals, we have to trust ourselves that it won't always be pretty, it's never going to be perfect, but we trust ourselves that we can dance too, that we can figure out how to dance to the music that's played in our life, that no one else can tell us how to dance to it. We have to figure out on our own. So that's why this lesson is So I Think You Can Dance.